Hello YouTube. I want to tell you a little bit about UPS's promotion practices. You can be a great worker. You can be the one who pulls the extra weight, who puts in the extra mile, shows up early every day to set up and pull the rollers into the loads for the twilight, for the outbound. You can be the one who walks the work areas, picks up the trash, and is always there to help out, and UPS will pass you over for promotion. They have a hard time retaining reliable, hard-working warehouse workers because they routinely screw people out of their pay, and they harass people, and there's abuse that takes place there. They cuss at their workers, and anybody with any good sense is not going to want to stick around and deal with that. I was there for 9 years, and in that time, only once did they ever come by and talk about the possibility of becoming a driver. I signed the bid lists multiple times, and they saw to it that I was passed over. I was never contacted. Not to be a temporary cover driver, not to be a full-time driver. And I could not transition into a temporary position where I might be working and then have that promotion taken from me and lose my employment altogether. Temporary cover drivers have the tendency to be flexed out by management whenever they don't have enough open slots available. And they would almost always promote Black or Latino over white. And that's not meant to be a racist statement. That is just the statistics. I worked hard. I was often put in the hardest work areas. I was moved from load to load helping other workers, and I did not see a return on my years invested with the company. At the first opportunity, if they're not getting exactly what they want from you, if you get sick, if you have any kind of family difficulties, if you're late for work, if you miss work because of emergencies, anything, they will use those things to disqualify you from being promoted to an on-the-road position. Just to give you a sense of how much more money per hour that they make, in the warehouse when I started out, they were paying me $8.50 an hour, and the drivers on the road start out at $21 an hour, and they're guaranteed to get at least 8 hours if they go out. Most of them get at least 10 to 12 hours every day, 5 days a week. So those drivers would easily be bringing home $1,200 a week, sometimes much more than that. Sometimes between $1,200 and $1,500, and that wasn't even peak pay. This is before they got the raises that brought peak pay up to $170,000 a year. If you're a loader and you're working in the building, you'll be lucky to get $150 a week on a twilight shift. I don't know what they're paying right now. I've heard it's somewhere between $16 and $21 an hour. But the way that they would take time off people's checks, and they would constantly be pushing you off the clock, except for when it was inconvenient for them. They would demand that you stay. Getting promoted there is really a crapshoot unless you can get out on the road. You don't want to be a supervisor because they slave those guys into the ground and they abuse them. And the only ones among management who make good money are the full-time supervisors. And there's a very long wait list to get into a full-time position supervising over there. Those positions start out at $80,000 a year. But they will promote someone with less work ethic who is black or Latino over someone who is white. And that's just the way that they do business. They think that they're not going to retain that Caucasian person, and that person's going to find better opportunities. And that driving position is going to be the best that that young African American man or Latino man can do. Those are the assumptions the company operates under. And if you look at the drivers, you see that their promotion policies support that conclusion. Meaning that you'll see some Caucasian drivers, but I would say 70 to 80% at least is black or Latino. And I felt like there was discrimination that was going on there. But there was nothing that I could do without hiring an attorney. And if you complain, if you file grievances because you've been passed over and you have more seniority, the company will target you for termination.